All right, guys, welcome to a trade recap video. This is going to be on the trade I took today on Monday, December 15th. This is a day trade for about 50%. You won't hear me say day trade in any future videos a lot because I am most of the time swing trading. But in this case, I'll be going over the day trade I took today. And then I'll also be going over just two trades that should have been a good swing trade that I would have taken today off my focus list that I didn't end up taking, but I'll show you how you could have made some money taking these other two trades that I had on my watch list. But for now, we'll go over the Amazon trade. So first things first, I liked Amazon for a short side trade if the markets were going to act super weak today, which they ended up doing, right, with Qs and S&P all down from the open to close. So obviously very weak in the markets today, and that's why I had Amazon picked out for the short side if the markets were weak. So this was the candles, the chart from basically Friday. This is in replay mode, so I'll go over why I liked it in the first place. So the reason I liked it was because we had a nice little kind of key level we could have played off of, which is this 225 spot. And if I zoom in a little bit, you can see this is pretty much these Tuesday and Friday's candle low that basically are equivalent to the lows at the same level at 225 from both those days. So you can see this some small support here that was super weak. If we ended up breaking it, I could see a potential downside to at least 222 all in one day. Obviously the big target would have been to 215 if this was a swing trade, but obviously I day traded it, so I ended up only taking up two targets that were more realistic that it could have hit in one day. So obviously first target was 223, which all I'm doing is I'm taking some recent lows from a couple weeks ago that I could have targeted. So this was a low from back in November 25th. So I'll put this as a green marker here, and you can see that was my first target under 225. So a good little $1.50 move if this would have played out, which obviously it did. And then my second target was 222.34. So those were the two targets I was looking at to the downside on this trade. And if we go down to the 5-minute here, this is where I entered it. So you can see this morning we did gap up in the overall markets, which obviously Amazon started gapping up. Still, this isn't invalidated yet. Obviously this is just gapping up. We obviously want to see how the market opens up the first 15 20 minutes. So we'll look at what happens in the first 5 minutes, and you can see the first 5 minutes, the Amazon 5-minute close here was all the way down at about let's see, so this came down around almost 1.5% here off the first 5 minutes. So all the way down to our entry point. Obviously I'm not going to chase this big move to the downside because you don't want to take this right at this 5-minute close and then end up taking a bad entry and then just having that a big kind of big risk with having your stop loss at the high of day. Because obviously when I'm taking a trade, I take the 5-minute close and then I put my stop at either low of day or high of day, depending on if I'm taking a short side or upside play. So in this case, typically the stop loss would be at high of day, which is a big $2 move to the upside, almost a $3 move actually. So would have been a kind of a hard trade to take if you were taking full size with a lot of risk here. So obviously I didn't take it on the first 5 minutes. I did wait. I think an extra 10 minutes is when I started taking it. I wanted to see this come and retest the moving averages here, but this looked super weak just off the first 15 minutes. This was kind of a small size trade I took just because of the big risk that was kind of the big risk of being at high day, which could be the stop loss here, and then also just kind of extended for the moving averages here off the first 5 minutes. But ended up taking this nonetheless with some small size, and you can see over the next couple minutes it does have trouble breaking down to the lows here. There, first 10 minutes it was actually struggling. So I did end up taking a few of my contracts off pretty quickly with struggling to get through these low of days here. And so I only ended up taking like 2 contracts off in profits just to kind of de-risk a little bit. And then the next 5 minutes, I think we hit low of day. Yeah, so we hit low of day with some volume. You can see volume kicked in here, crushed through low of day, ended up taking some profits there. Take profit 1 hit around 15 minutes or 10 minutes later. Took some profits off there. And if we keep playing it out, we hit and we break through this first take profit. And obviously we're targeting 222 for that last target here. And I ended up taking a lot off at this big break here. And I think I left some runners here. I ended up leaving 1 runner for about an extra like 20, 30 minutes, I think. This is about a 2-hour trade, so was kind of in and out pretty quickly when the majority of my contracts, and then the last contract I sold like an hour and a half later. I think this was around here when I sold it. But nonetheless, this was a good trade, good day trade here. This could have been a really good swing trade as well, just because you can, obviously see this is starting to really come down. And I think it actually ended up eventually hitting this 222 target here. Yeah, so like right around here, it hit that 222 target, which would have been that second take profit there. And it actually ended up getting below that there. So that was the day trade on Amazon here that we took for the win. Pretty nice and easy, nothing really special. This was just a quick, I honestly got lucky getting even 50% here. I did take next week's contract, so typically I'm trading at least a month away in expiration, but I took a nice 50% win here. The real trade that could have been really good today was on PFE. I talked about this last night, right? If markets were going to be weak, we could see a lot of flow into the health sector, which is why I was watching LLY and PFE. And I'll go over this one that played out really well as well, but it did end up gapping over our trigger, right? So I was watching this over 1031. This would have been a tough entry to get, just because we really just gapped up over that and ended up ripping right off the open. This would have been a little bit harder to get in, but PFE was an easier one. You can see we did end up kind of opening up pretty neutral and ended up ripping the first 5 minutes here to the upside. Our first 10 minutes we break out over that, and that would have been a good entry, right? We could have taken this over this breakout and ended up taking a nice little win here, and we'd actually be swinging this, right, typically. So that would have been a good trade here, just because this actually gave us an entry without actually gapping up over that trigger. So those are the two trades that we could have taken today. Obviously we took Amazon for a win, so can't be complaining about that. So yep, there it was, the trade recap video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and I'll see y'all on the next trade recap, because we're gonna win some more this week, so I'll be making some more of these.